Hello everyone, welcome to another E6B video. In this video I'll show you how to calculate fuel for your cross-country flight. As always, if you're ever in doubt on how to do this, the front side of the E6B, the slide rule side, will tell you, it will give you a reminder right here of how to perform these calculations. Before we get too far, let's review the scales of the E6B. So the outer scale is the A scale, this scale in the middle is the B scale, and the far inner scale here is the C scale. So to determine our fuel calculations, we are going to set the 60 index, which we used back with our time, speed, and distance problem. So the 60 index is right here. That is going to go under your fuel burn rate, which will be on the A scale, and then you will find your total fuel on the outer scale, on the A scale, above the time on the B scale. If the time is greater than 1 hour, then you may find it more useful to use the C scale to determine the time. So let's run through a couple of examples here. The first example, we have determined from our POH that we will be burning 11.5 gallons per hour of fuel, and that our flight will take 22 minutes, or at least our time between 2 points will take 22 minutes. So we are looking to determine how much total fuel we will burn at the rate of 11.5 gallons per hour over 22 minutes. So first we're going to set our 60 index underneath our fuel burn rate, which will be on the A scale. So there's our 60 index, and we'll set that to 11.5. So 11.5 is right there on the A scale. The next thing we need to look for is the time. So we said we're looking to determine how much fuel we will burn over 22 minutes. So the time will be found on the B scale, which we can find right here. There's your number 22 on the B scale. That represents 22 minutes. So the A scale will tell us our total fuel that we will burn at 11.5 gallons per hour over 22 minutes. So that looks to be 4.2 gallons. Again, don't forget the floating decimal. 42 gallons would not make sense since we are burning 11.5 gallons in 1 hour, and we're looking for how much fuel we will use over 22 minutes. So we know that the value has to be less than 11.5 since the time is less than 1 hour. So rather than 42 gallons, 4.2 gallons would be the answer that would make sense. The next example is probably a scenario you would encounter during flight. So in this particular example, we know how much time it took to travel between 2 points, and we know how much fuel we burned between those 2 points. So in this example, we're going to say that we burned 15 gallons over 11 minutes. So we are looking to determine our fuel burn rate. So with this example, we need to align the time on the B scale with the total fuel that we used on the A scale. So we used 15 gallons, and we can see the number 15 on the A scale right here, and we are looking for a time of 11 minutes, which we can find right here. So we need to align this 11 with this 15. Swing our E6B around here. We now have our time on the B scale aligned with the total fuel that we used on the A scale. So if we find the 60 index, the 60 index will point to the fuel burn rate, which we can find right here. So that looks to be a value of about 8.2 gallons per hour. Obviously 82 gallons per hour would not make sense since we burned 15 gallons in 11 minutes. The answer the obvious answer here would be 8.2. The next example will be what we would consider an endurance problem. So we know how much fuel, we know the rate at which we will burn fuel, and we know how much fuel we have on the aircraft, so we are looking to determine how much time the aircraft can stay airborne, or at least the engine can continue running. So in this example, our fuel burn rate is 6.3 gallons per hour, so we will align the 60 index with 6.3, which in this case we'll use the number 63 to represent 6.3. The total fuel on the aircraft is 35 gallons. That'll be found on the A scale. And then we would find our endurance on the B and C scale. So here on the A scale we find the number 35, that's 35 gallons. So it appears that that would give us approximately 334 minutes, which may not be the most practical denomination, so we could refer to the C scale instead, which would give us a bit of a more useful number of 5 hours and 34 minutes. So we are looking right here. In our final example, we have a known fuel burn rate of 8.2 gallons per hour, and we are looking to determine how much fuel we will burn after a 2-hour and 30-minute flight at 8.2 gallons per hour. So all we have to do there is align our 60 index with our fuel burn rate of 8.2. So we're going to use 82 to represent 8.2. We will find the time. Since this time is provided in hours, we will look at the C scale. We're looking for 2 hours and 30 minutes, which we find right here. 2 hours and 30 minutes. Above that on the A scale will be our total fuel that we will use. So it looks about 24 or 25 gallons that we will burn at a rate of 8.2 gallons per hour over 2 hours and 30 minutes. So the skills that you've learned in this video, as well as the previous video regarding time, speed, and distance calculations, these are skills that you will be expected to demonstrate on your private pilot check ride. In the next few videos, we'll talk about some perhaps lesser used calculations that you can use E6B for, including some short time, speed, and distance problems. We'll learn how to calculate density, altitude, and we will figure out how to use the E6B to convert between units as well.